Thank you, Secretary Vilsack, for being here. And while I'm glad to see you here, I'm kind of disappointed that Secretary Mayorkas isn't here as well, because the H-2A program is a major guest worker program that's administered by the Department of Labor and Department of Homeland Security and not by your department. If we're going to have a hearing about H-2A, Secretary Mayorkas should also be here to answer our questions. If he was here, I'd ask him on about a June 3rd letter that he and you, Secretary Vilsack, and Interior Secretary Holland received from the American Farm Bureau Federation and all 50 state farm bureaus relating to the current border crisis and increase in immigration illegally crossing our border. And I'd ask to put that letter in the record at this point. The letter notes that farming and ranching families on the border are, quote, bearing the brunt of this unprecedented influx and have never seen a more dire situation, end of quote. The letter went on to say that farming families have experienced damage to their crops and property, which has caused financial hardship. More importantly, the letter highlighted, quote, the security and safety of these families are at stake given the current circumstances, end of quote. The letter concluded by urging the Biden administration to, quote, recognize the crisis and take swift action. Mr. Secretary, since the letter was also addressed to you, I'm not going to ask you if you read it because you get a lot of mail, but I do direct you to that letter, and I just described some of that in that letter. So this brings me to my first question with you, and it's based on the proposition that I don't know for sure if there's any programs in the Department of Agriculture that can help these farmers, and I don't know even if these farmers ask for any help. But is the USDA currently taking any action to help farming families who have experienced damage to their crops and property as a result of the border crisis? And if not, did you have any plans to do that?
Senator, we are asking our NRCS folks to take a look at whether or not the conservation programs that we have could potentially provide some assistance and help in terms of debris removal and repair of fences and so forth that have been damaged. I have seen the letter. I've read the letter. Certainly, I've talked also as well to President Duvall, who's the president of the American Farm Bureau, about this issue on a couple of occasions. So we are taking a look at ways in which, from a financial perspective, we might be able to provide assistance and help to those families.
Well, thank you very much. That's a very positive response to my question. My next question and last one, or last subject I'll bring up about H-2A access for year-round agricultural employers. As you know, this is a major issue for a number of ag industries in our home state of Iowa. What are your views on expanding the H-2A program to cover year-round agricultural workers, such as animal agriculture and agricultural processing? Because right now it's limited to dairy and I think a 20,000 person cap, I believe.
I was pleased to see in the proposal an expansion and a creation of this opportunity. As I understand it, Senator, and I could be wrong, I believe there's a phase-in over a period of 3 years of 60,000 additional H-2A workers, and there's also a pilot program that focuses on year-round, or excuse me, not year-round, it focuses on the ability of workers to sort of move around the country of 10,000. I know that dairy is very interested in that long-term year-round workforce. I think they are appreciative, and National Milk Producers Federation is supportive of this, as are, I might add, roughly 80 ag groups who have worked collaboratively with the farm worker unions to work on this bill. So I think there is a process. I think there's an opportunity for us to see how that staged-in increase works, and to determine at that point in time whether or not additional adjustments need to be made. So there is a process, and we're certainly appreciative of that.
I think maybe you just asked my last question, but I want to state it for the record anyway, if you got anything to add. I know that you're generally supportive of this legislation, but what is your response to employers, including Iowa-based employers on our next witness panel, who have expressed concern about how the bill addresses H-2A access to year-round employees and the bill's cap on H-2A workers for year-round employers?
I think the key, Senator, is to give us an opportunity to see whether or not this phased-in approach works. I would point out that there is a number of reforms and streamlining of the process, a reduction, an online registry, for example, the ability to not have to have repeat applications to get workforce from time to time during the course of the year. So I think there are a series of important improvements to the H-2A system. I think it would be an opportunity for us to see how this works. And obviously, if there are problems with we can always tweak and modify. But I think first and foremost, you want to learn to walk before you run, and that phased-in approach allows us to learn to walk before we run.
Senator Feinstein.